Welcome to Think Enriched with Amy Robles. This is the podcast made for you, the smart, ambitious woman. Think Enriched is the show to help you think bigger, create the business you love, and keep your family first. We know when you enrich a woman's life, you help her entire circle of influence. Now here's your host, Amy Robles. Hey, welcome to this episode of Think Enriched. I am so delighted to have our guest today. We're going to talk about how to refine your life to be a multi-dimensional woman. This is a phrase I've never heard before until my friend and our guest today shares her perspective, what she went through, these travels, this incredible experience, and she wanted to be mom first, implement all those things to her children. How does she do it, and how can we do it? And in this, it became very, very clear to me that there are 3 specific steps that each of us has to go through to achieve the ultimate goal and become our fullest, most complete woman on purpose to do tremendous good in our lives. Here's our conversation. Oh my goodness. This is one of those episodes where I've been waiting for, I believe, years to actually have the connection, have one of my most favorite people on the planet on the podcast. And this guest, today's guest, I have known for a very long time. I have done things with this woman. That sounds wrong. We have made memories in ways that I am doing things that I never thought that I would do before. Hey, welcome to the show, Mandy Green.
Thank you. I am so excited to be a guest on your podcast.
This is awesome. So in full disclosure, there's no secrets. You're among friends. Mandy and I were on the student council in our senior year of high school. She was always one of the super cool kids, always growing up. And I always felt like I was on the outside. And so this year we spent together, the first few months, I don't think we really had that much of a connection. But then it was like in 3-4 months, it was like, wow, this woman is amazing.
We brought Amy over to the dark side.
and seriously, one of the advisors pulled me aside before the year started and said, there's some kids and we need you to be aware, Amy. You just never know. And then once you get to know this person, Mandy, and her dearest friend, Erika, who will be on the show very soon, I'm sure, is this creativity and this thinking larger than life and moving forward and limitless boundaries. And it was so eye-opening for me. And you had that vision even at such a young age. Mandy, where does that come from?
Good question. I think I had really, really great parents who were very, very authentic people. And growing up in my home, I have 4 brothers and 2 sisters, and my poor mother, we were all just, we're just all very ourselves and full of life and full of vision and a little mouthy, and bless their souls, they were authentic people. And I think they encouraged us to be authentic. And I remember in junior high, people just saying, oh my gosh, you're so weird. And I remember thinking, I'm just being who I am. Like, how would I even manage that? Maybe it's just because I'm so wild, I don't even know how to bring it in. But, I really have never learned that art of muting myself down or being less than I am. And I think that's inside of all of us. I really don't think it's, particular to me, but those of us who are awake and alive to our own purpose, boy, does that shine through when you live that way. When you live that way and you have that in your heart and mind as you go in your days and weeks. So kudos to great parents and being crazy.
I love it. When you say you were wild, we're not talking like time served or...
No. I never even drank or did anything like that. I think I just did little weird things. All teenagers need an outlet, and we got into trouble, impersonating drunks or, shoving fruit up someone's tailpipe after watching Beverly Hills Cop or something like that. It was just trying to figure out who you were, and so it was Erika and Mandy's kind of just like one person during that whole era. We had good times.
After spending so much time with you guys and having just so much fun and doing these things that were just, they were never ever causing harm to anybody else. It was just being in the moment. And this would be hilarious if, and it just builds from that, right? And
Yes.
All of these moments. And then I go to college, this little tiny college where there's more sheep than people, and that's not a metaphor, that's the truth. And and somebody pulled me aside and said, Amy, I've never met anyone like you. I was like, great.
I love it.
Tell me what a failure I am. No, he says, you have all this energy and all this humor, but it's all positive. Well, I don't get it. You just build people up as you're doing this. And I really acknowledge you, Mandy, in this, because that's what you do. You're never trying to exclude other people, but pull them in to this humor and this moment. And let's just feel life right now. What a gift.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I've worked hard to make it more positive. Growing up, we were poor, and I think our medium of artistry was mockery. So we're pretty versed to that. And I've worked hard to do that in better fun than not. But thank you. I appreciate that.
So that brings us to now we're moms. Now we're responsible adults supporting and doing all of the things in the community. And just a few years, because I live far away, that I'll come back and I'll visit, and I always want to make sure that I connect with my friends at home. And a few years ago, you just started talking about, I think I'm going to learn Hebrew. And I know that where did all of this start? Like, walk us through the story. What happened?
All right. I think there's this kind of template for life. And so I kind of just followed the template, and I met an amazing man and I got married. And then you're like, oh, we should have a family. That's one of those like brain amnesia moments where you're like, literally you like hear music and every baby you see is enchanted. And you're like, yes, we should have a family. And then you get pregnant and you're like, this is an irreversible process, and you're locked in. And it's been a great ride. So I think what happened was, I had been working professionally as a regional representative for a exporting company to Russia. And once I had that first child, I was working, and then I just thought, I'm missing out on a lot of things. And there wasn't a caregiver I could find in the world who kind of had my same ideas and beliefs. And those things are really important to me to instill in my own offspring. So I quit and I raised kids for several years. And at the end of that kind of, I call it my, what do I call it? Something mothering coma or something like that, right? Because you're just in this world of Cheerios and Teletubbies and fruit snacks and nap times and good times. But as far as your mind and your soul and all these things you crave, it's not really rich in that area. And so when I sent my last child off to first grade, I remember sitting down and saying, literally, like out loud, kind of prayerfully, very prayerfully, actually, I have time and means, plug me in. And at this moment, one of my neighbor friends said, I want you to come take this Old Testament class with me. And I thought, oh, Old Testament? Are you kidding me? Who wants to learn about the Old Testament? And gratefully, she persisted. And right about that time is when I acquiesced and went to this class. And I do not have the language for what happened to me there, but it's like I just lit up my soul just lit up. And I didn't realize I had been kind of dead inside for a long time, spiritually and mentally and academically. And I just lit up there. And a couple weeks in, I had this feeling like, you need to learn Hebrew. And I thought, that is the craziest. I don't even know if that's a language. Like, look at how oblivious I am. And it just persisted. And then I thought, okay, if I'm supposed to learn Hebrew, open up the way. And the way was opened up. From then on, it was other languages and other experiences. And it's just been one amazing ride. But I think it all started with sitting down and opening myself up to opportunities, to growth, to being of service to others. That's a really important aspect of enlarging yourself, is how it plays out for other people. How can you benefit other people? So I've been very, very lucky. But it's maybe been 4 or 5 years that all of this has happened in. So there's plenty of time for all of us.
Man, I think there's so many good lessons there of how being a mom and being there for your child in a way that only you can is the decisions that you made in that season. And then you realized, wow, now I'm in a new framework and a new season. What is the next step? And being open to that is so important. And I really love the honesty about you're there for your children. You make sure that they're going through life and doing what they're supposed to be, but not feeling the challenge and not feeling being pushed to the next level. And I see so many women stuck in that of doing the right thing for their family and where they are at this moment, but not having anything for themselves or in trying to figure out where they fit in this huge equation. What would you say to that woman?
Oh, I would say your life as a woman is just the most important thing to you and everyone who surrounds you. I am by far just absolutely full and happy. And I realize that there's seasons, but if I had to do it over again, I would have taken those steps to keep myself alive. Literally take one class or be painting one artwork or be going out and working out, or just like, you need to keep the toe in the door. I think if I were to do it again, I had gotten this line that motherhood will fill you up and be everything you possibly need. And it has filled me up, and it's been a tremendously wonderful endeavor. But women are multidimensional. We are diamonds. And so you have so many dimensions. And if you only look or focus on one dimension of yourself, those other ones become very dull very quickly. So I pulled my foot out of the door, and it's taken me years I'm still banging on that door, to be honest. Keep a toe in that door, ladies, and keep those things in your life that keep you alive. And the beautiful thing about that is that it will make you a much better mother. It will make you a much better wife. It will make you a much richer friend. You bring so much more to the people you care about in your community when you are a full and alive person. So take the time, make it intentional, and put it at the top of the list. We're very self-sacrificing, and putting yourself at the bottom really doesn't serve anyone, and everyone loses out on you and all of these tremendous opportunities. So throw it at the top of the list, be loud and proud about it, and come alive. Quote, a tremendous movie that I just saw, right? Come alive, baby.
Yes, we both just are in love with the greatest showman right now, and it's kind of running my life. My daughter got up on the couch and she's like, "Mom, this is for you." And she just started singing to me last night while I was doing the dishes. It's one of those moments. And in all of this, I see so many women that are feeling this and knowing that they need to do this and put themselves at the list. But there's this weird, your mind is going through this craziness thinking, I don't know, just this mom guilt. And I just don't think we can do this. I just, and it's going to cost money to do this. There's so many reasons, so many excuses that we put in front of ourselves and we can lose ourselves. I've seen this where as a military spouse, half the time I'm single mom and then half the time we're co-parents and then half the time it's just me making the decisions. And especially in those times, I lose everything and paying for a babysitter seems like the dumbest thing in the world. But once I started doing that, I was like, oh, I'm a much better mom. I'm a lot more patient at the end of the day. And what you're saying is how it not only benefits you, it helps everyone around you.
Well, and just in that beautiful example you just quoted, I mean, we're about the future. And I think about what my daughters see and inherit from my example and from your example. That girl jumping on the couch and singing out loud and embracing life, that comes because she sees it being modeled. And I think, boy, if you need to find another reason and it has to be more altruistic, there you go. Because you're empowering everyone else around you when you are full of light. Like that.
That's awesome. So you decide to take Hebrew, right? We're going to get...
I know, crazy, right? I was going to study the pre-Raphaelite artists. I mean, that is a complete 180. And now I read ancient dead languages. So there you go.
And so I come home a year later and we're sitting at dinner, our friends again, and just check up, which I hope every woman on the planet has a group of friends that you get together once a year and sit down and rehash and laugh your guts out at the most inane, ridiculous things and support each other. I wish I could give that to every woman.
Yes.
But I come home this time and you come in, beautiful summer tan, looking fresh, and saying, I'm going to Israel next month. Mandy,
that's pretty much what it was.
From 0 to 1,000. So a couple of things happened there. How did you tell your husband? I need to hear more of this story.
Okay, so I studied Hebrew, and it's very difficult. And plus my brain's older now, but I love it. And this opportunity, I was trying to get into Oxford, and so I needed some big push, and somehow Hebrew University had come across my path, and I wanted to go study Bible studies because travel. A few years before that, I probably took my first. Besides serving as a missionary, my first international trip with my husband, and travel, there is just no substitute for travel, and there's no substitute for experience. And so I'd wanted to study at Hebrew U, and I talked to this wonderful woman in New York. I went and visited with her when we were in New York City, and she said, why don't you just go out for a month for the semester, for the summer term, and see how you like it, see if your family could live there. And so literally in a matter of weeks, I'm rushing around getting a physical and doing all kinds of things and telling my friends, I think I'm going to go live in Israel for a month. And I'll be really honest. So my husband, I told him I would not do it. And my family, I think I probably had about 4 or 5 weeks from when I decided for sure to go. I said, I'm not going to just go. Like, I need to go with your blessing. And each of my children slowly came around and they're like, Mom, go live your dream. Right. And they were really, really quite remarkable that way. Brent took a long time to come around, to be honest. It's a little bit, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I just jump off cliffs. I just mentally and metaphorically just go do things. And my poor husband's like the shore to my raging sea. And so the shore is thinking, this is a little crazy. And I'm like, I know, but I feel it deeply inside. Like I need to do this. And I had some really great people who were encouraging. But I would be lying if I didn't say I wasn't getting tons of backlash in my neighborhood, tons of backlash. Like, how as a mom and a mother can you leave your family for 30 days? And I thought, well, my husband's probably a better mother than I am in a lot of ways, but, which is actually very true. No. But, I got a lot of backlash, and, I remember my dad even calling me and being like, are you sure this is responsible? And I kind of let him have it, because I'm like, not once have you said this to one of my brothers when they have extensive business trips. And when Brent, my husband, travels a lot. And it was a great learning experience for me to take that leap. And I didn't really sleep the week before, and I'm not sure I ate. I lost a lot of weight. And when I got there, I continued to lose weight, because turns out maybe you should watch the news or maybe not. But when I went over there, they were at war. So I showed up, and my taxi driver's like, you shouldn't be here. And I'm just this lone crazy mom storming around a city with people with machine guns on every corner. But I tell you what, when you feel that call, when you feel deep in your soul that this is an important piece of you and this is something you should do, it takes courage. And I knew if I could just step on that plane, if I could just make myself get on that plane and go from plane to plane and show up there, that it would pay off. And I showed up there, and my phone didn't work. I don't think I got word to my husband for about 5 days that I was okay. And everyone was saying, you should go back, you should go home. And I had this really, really pivotal moment there in the middle of the night in Jerusalem, as you hear crazy things, and as you're the most alone you've probably ever been in your life in those dark hours. And I just felt like you can walk away, but if you stay, illumination will come. And so I endured the loneliness and the crazy a little bit longer. And then, wow, that was a singular experience that taught me things and woke up parts of me that would never have woken up had I stayed in my safe environment, had I stayed in that role of parent and mother. Sometimes it's good to go break out of that role and just be you. And there was a quote I would look at that said, don't be afraid of your fears. They're not there to scare you. They're there to let you know that something is worth it. And that's by Joybell C. Joybell. And then another one was, scared is what you're feeling. Brave is what you're doing. And so I think that's a really important element of coming alive, is having courage. Cummings said, it takes courage to grow up and become who you're meant to become, or something like that. I'm kind of paraphrasing him, but that gigantic leap has been so life-defining in terms of being courageous, in terms of going after it, in terms of letting go, in terms of allowing for change and allowing for other people to step up, allowing for your kids to grow. I'm sure I wasn't the only one who grew through that experience. And your ties do become stronger, and your children become stronger as they kind of fend, or they see you showing courage and fortitude. So that was a really big step, and a really crazy one, but a very worthwhile one. And it's led to many other tremendous things.
So, wow, huge. So much intensity, and in that moment, I think we may not travel the world. We may not end up in a place and wonder if we're physically safe, but it seems like every woman can relate to that moment. And just what you're saying of having courage and stepping out and being brave, and what that means to one woman is going to be different.
Absolutely.
How we respond to those moments is what makes each one of us come alive. And Mandy, you were a different person when you came back. I could see that in who you were, and the way you had this reverence and awe of what you were studying and how this was applying. and now you're teaching. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so it seems like you go through this time, and these are the steps that keep coming up that I see in women is there's this, something happens inside, and then they have to just take it all in and learn. And this phase of curiosity and just studying and learning a little bit more. And then you get to this point where people are coming to you and wanting to learn for two reasons. First, you know something that they have no idea. And second, you are lit up. And what you're talking about right there, you just felt alive in a different way than you had ever felt before.
Absolutely. And Jerusalem is an extraordinary place. I mean, Jerusalem is historically, spiritually, epically, it is where heaven and hell met and battled, and you will feel that. You will feel it deep in your bones. And it was so educational to be there and to be in that setting, and to come alive by putting yourself out there and doing something like that. It's an extraordinary place. And one of the most wonderful things I gained from being in that crazy experience and being in a war zone. And they said, like my third night there, well, maybe like right after I made friends is when the bomb shelter sound alarm went off. If you've never heard that in your life, that's a new experience. And you feel that in every pore. And you go and you lock up in this room with these two wonderful friends I made, Justin and Jordan. And if anything, that experience just cured me of fear. And I just thought, after living there in those circumstances, you come to understand that your life has purpose. And then if you will be true to that purpose, and if you will follow it through with passion and vivacity and be true to that, nothing is going to happen to you. That something bigger guides your life and guides your path and guides your footsteps, and that you can get rid of fear and you can get rid of anything that would hold you back, because that was a situation that could have been very interesting. And I felt very acutely that I had purpose and that nothing was going to happen until I had accomplished that purpose that I had here. So, whatever it is, however you jump out like that, however you feel prompted to go forward, trust in that. There is divine magic in that feeling. And when you follow it through, your courage will grow proportionately. And as you do that, you are exponentially blessed with knowledge and experience and opportunities. Like I said, this has been maybe 4 years, and my life has just really exploded in all these fantastic ways I wouldn't have dreamt of as a result of taking that step, however it is and however big it feels to you. I promise there is treasure hidden in that opportunity if you will take it.
Wow, that's profound. The whole time that I have known you, you've got these older brothers who are intellectually they're like brainiacs, and you've always had this the word that keeps coming through my mind is
I'm the dumb one.
You got this chutzpah just to take them all on and prove who you are, and women have power. And the first time I ever felt like I was introduced to what it means to be a feminist, but you're a homemaker, and this is number one. And so in your life today, how do you balance being this power feminist and support the role of who the woman is, and be the housewife and the soft, tender-hearted woman? How does that work for you?
I don't know that soft, tender woman has ever been applied to me.
Stop.
Oh, that's funny. That's a great question. I think I just I don't overthink it. I think I'm just who I am. And there's power in consciously choosing to do what you do. And it makes a difference in our house for me to be around and I've noticed that just my presence is a good deterrent for badness. If your mom's in the house, you might reconsider some of your choices. But I think I really don't know how to answer that. I think it's important that you're with someone that believes in you and that you believe in. My husband and I we don't really have these kind of roles where it's like, you have to do this, I have to do this. It's whoever is around and upright can make food, and whoever can do the laundry can do the laundry, and whoever can be there for the kids can be there for the kids. And it doesn't necessarily have to fall on me. He's been tremendous that way. And I want both men and women to have this larger view of humanity, that we just help each other out, that we champion the cause. We were watching the Golden Globes the other night, and my son, who lives in an estrogen palace, let's just be honest, he is the lone boy in between sisters, and he has a fiery mom, and his grandma lives with us, so there's a lot of estrogen in this house. And he was, commenting on this Time's Up. He's like, I just feel horrible as a man. Like, what have I done? And I just smiled and I thought, well, amazingly enough, hopefully you're being raised in a different world where those thoughts are foreign to you, and where you don't dream of putting women down in order to put yourself up, or seeing women as objects, or victimizing women. And so I think it's important that the bar is raised across the board, that as I champion women and as I champion myself and my daughters and my friends, that we do so as equal partners, and that men are also championed, and that the role of manhood is also important in our thoughts. And we do those things that would encourage like beautiful, strong, vulnerable manhood, in addition to beautiful, strong, vulnerable womanhood. And I think that's at our core of just understanding and being more in touch with our humanity and the humanity of others. So in my Bible studies, the word for Eve, the word helpmeet, literally translated in Hebrew means ezer kenegdo. It literally means like the exact, but the mirror image. And so if you look at men and women coming to this mirror, and they're on equal footing, they're on equal grounds, but they're mirror images. They're kind of this opposite, this beautiful yin and yang, or the blade and chalice, to use religious symbology. We really complement each other so beautifully and so completely when we play to both sides of that coin.
Wow. That's what this is all about. And as we come more alive, how this works. I was thinking about my relationship with my husband, and it's he supports me fully, but he would never do any of this stuff that I'm doing. Right?
Yes, that is true.
And yet he knows this is exactly the right thing. And when I talk to you, in fact, I was talking to Lorraine over the holidays, and I said, man, isn't Mandy amazing? You talk to her and you're like, of course she should go to Israel. Why didn't I think of that? Right? Because this is the right path for you and the right path for me. And I just want to help women find the right path for themselves, because not like our parents, we go the degree, there we go, the job, we don't just check off the list. This is a different generation, a different time where we need to find the right thing and filter through and figure out the right path. How did you know you were on the right path?
You know what? Like I said, it's deep inside of you. There's this great apocryphal text called the Hymn of the Pearl, and it was uncovered with some ancient writings, and it's about this person who came from this tremendous heavenly home, and he was endowed with these robes of glory and this tremendous gifts. And he was sent to come down to battle the Leviathan. And the Leviathan was guarding this person's one pearl. And he was sent down to retrieve the pearl and return home. And if I can quote just one stanza, what happens is the person comes down, and these are his words, but from some occasion or other, they learned I was not of their country. With their wiles, they made my acquaintance. Yea, they gave me their victuals to eat. This part's really important. I forgot that I was a king's son and became a slave to their king. I forgot all concerning the pearl for which my parents had sent me, and from the weight of their victuals, I sank down into a deep sleep. I think the way this world is designed is really, there's a force here, this force of entropy to keep you asleep, to keep you down, to keep you low, to keep you just going through this treasury of wake up, go to bed, go through the day, clean up the Cheerios off the floor, or whatever it is. And I think there really is a divine spark in all of us. And when we come alive to that, you will know what that pearl is. You will know what that pearl of great price is. It will speak to you because it's deep, deep inside of you. And as you break out of that sleep, and as you stop taking the things of this world and you try to connect with yourself on this deeper level, on this higher level of being true to what really is inside of you, you know what that pearl is. And like you said, the amazing, beautiful thing about that is that everybody has their own pearl, and everybody is designed and built for different things. And so by no means should anyone listening to this podcast go start reading Hebrew and crazy apocryphal texts, although I do recommend apocryphal texts. But the point is that that pearl is yours and yours only. And that's kind of what you're going to bring to the world. And along with that, when there's this tremendous synergy that comes. So for instance, Amy, you and I have my pearl, and I feel like you have your pearl. You absolutely know your purpose, and you have this tremendous voice and this tremendous advocacy for people, the women that you advocate and cheer on and help. And I just think like I have my pearl and my power, and you have yours. And yet when we smash those two together in a podcast like this, there's this explosive exponential force that comes from more than one person knowing their purpose and going after that. So it's really kind of this beautiful process that as you uncover and free up that pearl, other people do. One of our friends in student council gave me the nickname of Mandela, and it kind of stuck. But in one of his speeches, he quoted Marianne Williamson, and I think this quote is so applicable to our conversation. If that's all right, if I say it. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. It takes courage to endure the sharp pains of self-discovery rather than choose to take the dull pain of unconsciousness that would last the rest of our lives.
I've read that. I haven't, but it's been, a couple of years. Like I just got chills right now. processing that, the sharp pain of this discovery. That's all we have to do is break through that and then follow.
Yeah, and it is a painful process. I'm the first one to say, not like in a horribly painful process, but you're going to feel your gut lurch every time you step on that plane, or every time you step up to that podium or that microphone, or take that brush in hand, or whatever it is. But it's now kind of like this delicious pain to me, because every time I've done it enough now in the last 4 years, that every time I do that, I get a little excited because I know what is on the other side of that. And it is breathtaking and wonderful and illuminating and empowering. And so take it, just take it. The pain fades and everything else stays. Everything else stays.
Wow. So Mandy, I know that our friends that are listening right now are going to want to learn more or connect with you or hear more of your thoughts. Where can they find more of you online?
So I just, I'm trying to become more professional. I mean, really, I'm just like this woman who speaks crazy languages and ripped jeans and, drinks a lot of Diet Coke at my desk. I do have a desk, and my study is filled with flamingos because they make me happy. So I did just start a website. It's www.mandybrookgreen.com. So Mandybrookegreen.com. And I kind of just am a smattering of a lot of things. So at this point, I teach religion classes. I'm starting a Hebrew class. I led my first tour to England last year, and we have another tour to look at traditions of Jesus Christ in Britain. Fascinating subject. We have another tour that will be happening in April of 2019. A lot of really interesting and amazing things. And I'm just taking it as it comes.
That's awesome. We'll have a link for that in the show notes. So Mandy girl, is there any last thing you just want to say to that woman listening? Like, oh, she gets me. I feel like I know her. What would you say to her right now?
Well, I tend to rely on better minds than my own. I'm a voracious reader, so I would probably like to use this quote that I just pulled up. It's from an Italian monk, Giovanni Giocando, on Christmas Eve of 1513. I think the most important thing is to not box up yourself or anything else. One of my favorite quotes is from Hamlet, and he tells his friend Horatio, there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Horatio. To just stay open. Staying open is a great way for you to figure out who you are and what you're about. But I like this quote. Let me preface the quote by saying that oftentimes things show up packaged in weird ways. And so in your life, as you're thinking, oh, I'm just a mom, or I'm just regular community woman. That's what I got called this summer. You're just a regular community woman. Kind of have embraced it. So if you just are seeing yourself in that way, there are ways that life is packaging things for you to break out and explode. And so let me quote this brilliant thought from Giovanni Giocando. Life is so generous a giver, but we, judging its gifts by their covering, cast them away as ugly or heavy or hard. Remove the covering, and you will find beneath it a living splendor, woven of love by wisdom with power. Welcome it, grasp it, and you will touch the angel's hand that brings it to you. Everything we call a trial, a sorrow, or a duty, believe me, that angel's hand is there. The gift is there, and the wonder of an overshadowing presence. Our joys too, be not content with them as joys, they too conceal diviner gifts. Life is so full of meaning and purpose, so full of beauty beneath its covering, that you will find that earth but cloaks your heaven. Courage then to claim it, that is all. But courage you have, and the knowledge that we are pilgrims together, wending through unknown country home. You and I are pilgrims on this same journey. And as we walk this road courageously and uncover things that are beautiful and full of splendor and power, even when they're tough and difficult and hard, that we find our way, we find that pearl, we find purpose, and we come alive with that. It's a tremendous gift.
Mandy, thank you for being on the show today.
You are welcome. I love it. I love you, and I'm grateful for all the direction and help you've given me in refining that for myself. You've been very instrumental in helping me go from this crazy, like, runaway electron type molecule to something more solid, and I appreciate that, Amy. You are a gift in my life.
You can see it, right? How Mandy has been such an inspirational voice in my life. The humor and the inspiration, the guidance, the perspective. She's really is an influential teacher in my life. One thing that just keeps coming up, the women that I'm working with, what I'm seeing is these 3 steps as a woman decides to go from the regular mundane to step out and live her most enriched life. There's something that happens within. Maybe it's this discomfort. Maybe it's this unsatisfied feeling. Maybe this is the turning and twisting of this isn't right. Something's not right. But there is a pivotal moment that really happens within for every woman. Then she moves to this phase of curiosity and studying and learning for more and just seeking. And she's just hungry to find that. She's still keeping up with the rest of her life. She's still handling her business. But this other phase of curiosity and just absorbing all she can. For me, it started out with, I think I need to do photography. And I love a beautiful image. And I think that I can do that. And I learned the rule of thirds and I'm studying, but that wasn't the right thing. That wasn't the right fit for who I am and what's best. And through progress and my personal growth, understanding and coming to this phase where having these critical conversations where we are so busy as women, we don't have time to slow down and have these conversations. I love being able to ask these questions that I think we all have, but are limited by our time constraints. And so going through the phase and the curiosity really brought me to this point. And then having people coming to you to learn for all of these multifaceted reasons. You have the knowledge and you are lit up. Every time Mandy's talking about what's happening in her life, she's so excited, she's energetic, she's so passionate about the moment. And that doesn't make her less of a mom. It gives her an opportunity to really be completely filled up. My friend Carrie Oberbrunner, he says regularly, you show up filled up. And as women, we are just cutting ourselves down and being so busy that we're not making sure that we are filled up. Take some time, really find out, and let me know in the social media. If you choose Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, you can find me on all 3 of those. Tell me, which stage are you in? Are you in stage 1 where you just know and something's happening within and you're not satisfied and it's time to make a change? Are you in phase 2, that phase of curiosity and learning and drinking up the knowledge that you can get? Or are you in phase 3 where people are coming to you and asking questions? This is all part of becoming this multidimensional woman and achieving and doing tremendous good. I hope you take this and really implement it in your life and run with it. This is where we do some amazing things together. Because when you enrich your own life, you are able to impact the lives of all of those around you. That's what all this is about. Have a great week. I'll talk to you soon.